Alright, tape time. Tape times. I just thought today I'd make a tape, show you guys the taping method a little bit. We got this tape deck here, which is Technics, I guess RSB12. Is that that might be the model number. Either way, I've had this for a long time, and it works. It works really well. It's cool because it has one-touch recording, so you literally just press record, and that's it, and it records over, and it's really easy to use. It also has, if you look there, it's got the possibility to do you can do normal or CR02 or metal tapes. So you can do the different tapes, and you've got the noise reduction, which don't use noise reduction. Never use it. And let's see, the input. We're gonna want to move this up. And it's left and right stereo kind of volume capabilities. If you can see that. We just leave it center, and then it's just one deck, one tape, whatever you call it, one cassette loader. I don't know if that's what you call it, whatever it's called. It's nice to have a cassette deck that has two, and you can go bounce back and forth between the two tapes a lot easier that way. This has worked for my purposes at this point. Yeah, so what I usually do, this diary is just going to be about what I do to bounce from digital, like a digital master of an album onto a cassette tape. It's really basic. A lot of people already know how to do this. Maybe more just for diary, purposes than being like a tutorial, educational kind of video. That much is pretty easy to bounce to cassette with a little research if you don't know how yet. But anyway, so we've got we got tapes. I just use these. I've shown these before. They're just the cheapest tape you can get on Amazon. Maxell 90-minute normal bias. If we want to talk about the biases, metal tapes are cool, but they go for a lot. I mean, comparatively, I've seen used metal tapes and stuff on eBay and stuff going for one tape for $50 or more and stuff like that, and it's you're just buying someone's tape that they've already used that you're going to tape over, and that's cool. But for most people's uses, just a regular normal bias will work fine. So you remove that, and you get the tape, and you got the labels and the insert, which we also are going to not use because we like to make our own inserts. And so while we're on the topic of inserts, I partially decided to do this because I had these leftover inserts that I printed out for making tapes before, and I kind of just wanted to make use of them. So just got a few here from old tapes that I had already made. But I guess because I have, some of them have these are partially used, but it wasn't fully printed out. But this is an example. I guess we'll do this. We'll probably do this record just because I have this insert right now. But so you have the album cover, a J card, the J card insert. Which is that's for the whole insert for the outside shell of the tape, and then I also like to make an insert that goes inside the tape that has the track list and stuff on it like that. And so you can do other things too, and other types of inserts, and you can do more complex J cards, like fold out ones. The most basic and easy thing to do though. I would recommend for DIY tape insert making is to Google a J card insert template, and get a template that's just a blank template that has the exact measurements and specifications of what a blank J card looks like. and then you can use that and then create your own graphics on top of that. Use that template so that you know you're measuring everything, the perfect amount of whatever percentage size of everything is. And then you can print them out on paper or whatever, or even cardstock. Make sure everything's the right size. So I guess we'll do this album. We're going to do this album today. So we get tape here. The album, let me look on the computer here. I'm going to turn on the screen recorder real quick. Yeah, so let's see, the album. Yeah, so this album, so you have a playlist of it here already. So we're going to go to that playlist. Yeah, so that's what I do. I make a playlist, and then I guess so I was trying to see the length of this. So it's 42 minutes. So with the 90-minute tape, it's 45 minutes on each side, so I can fit the whole album on one side, which is good. And there's tapes with shorter lengths and everything. It's nice to be able to have, just like most albums are, there's no typical, but really there is. I mean, a lot of albums are like 30 to 45 minutes, so being able to fit a whole album on one side of a tape is nice with the 90-minute tapes. So I just put the label on there. I'm going to write with, got a marker right here. Yeah, so I'm going to put the tape in. I'll turn the power on. Tape goes in. And then I just have this connector here. This is the audio out of the tape deck that just goes right to a 1/8 headphone jack. So I just put it right into the computer, which I'm doing right now. So now the computer headphone jack is going to go right into the tape deck. And now we're going to, just a couple things before we start. And all this stuff, I know all this stuff is like, if you've done tapes before, you already know this. So you want to set the tape counter to 0, which is at, you can see the tape counter right there, which tells you it's at 0. And then if you are really industrious, you can count the tape counter numbers and see what each track measures out to and everything, because we're talking like before timestamps, so that can be useful. Like I did have to do that, like let's see, so this one, like when I was making a tape. Yeah, like this tape I made, like for my rock and roll band project or whatever, I had like this, you probably can't even read this, really difficult handwriting, but like on the side there, it says like it's like the number 103 was like the number that the song ended at. So like I wrote like the song, you write the song and then you write the tape counter, the number, so you know where to fast forward to on it to get to that part of the song. But anyway, it's not really a concern for what we're doing right now. So it's plugged in, it's ready to go, and we're just gonna, so the other thing is always make sure that when you start the recording and press record and everything, wait for a few seconds until the tape gets ready to fully go through before you send the recorded signal in. It's an amateur mistake. I've made this myself, and then you end up getting the beginning of what you were trying to record is cut off. So generally the way that I know and do it, I'll show you, is see if we can get right up in there. So I don't know how visible this is going to be. You see that the two spools, and see the spool that's filled with tape, that tape's going to run into the second spool that's not filled yet. So when we press record, we want to watch the second spool and wait until tape has started filling up on it, which often takes quite a few seconds before there's tape running to be recorded onto, if that makes sense. So we're going to do that now. So you see the tape's going. And now tape ran over onto it so we can record. So I press play, and you can see the levels there. Levels are kind of low. I only put this on 5, but it may be that the song starts quiet and gets louder too. I think I'll turn it up. I'll see how it goes. Yeah, that's really quiet for some reason. I'm not sure why it's quite that quiet. But we'll just leave it like this, and then we'll restart. So sometimes I do that. Get the levels good first. I'm guessing the levels will go higher as the song goes on, possibly. But we want to watch the levels as we record. So we're gonna restart everything, and we'll watch the tape. Yeah, right there, and it went on. The levels are a bit higher, but I do think it'll go up as the song goes on. I think it starts with a quieter introduction and then kicks in more, so that might be an okay level. We'll see. Yeah, getting your levels on the tapes. There's different philosophies about it. Yeah, so it doesn't look like the levels are going up all that much. Let's see what this is at. Yeah, Yep, so that's why. So we didn't max the volume on this. So we're gonna start over. So like as we maxed, I just maxed the computer volume. You might have seen the levels just went way up. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the levels to the perfect level we want now, and then we're going to restart it. So while we look at this, it's fluctuating quite a lot, but they say you want it around 0 right here usually, but you can boost them up and you can go like way up, like up to here past 9, 10. It can get really, it can start to get blown out too much. And then you have like this here, which is like supposed to be maybe the sweet spot, or like the Dolby. I think that's the Dolby symbol. It's okay to go a bit over the 0, maybe halfway. But I think that's probably a good level. It's probably a pretty good level. So we're gonna stop it, rewind, and start over now. I'm gonna pause the playlist, start over. Yeah, so usually I already have this all figured out, so I don't even have to bother doing this type of thing, because I pretty much just have it down to where I just max out the computer volume, and then usually I just leave the input level the same on everything, on every tape that I make, and don't usually mess with the input level at all. Yeah, and that's, you can see now it's better. It's good to have it almost to the full, but not all the way. So you can see it's like going up, almost hitting 9 there, but not quite. So it's over 0, which is like, it's not quite at peak level, which is good usually. And it depends on what the sound is like and how lo-fi or whatever you want it to sound. But I think a good, somewhere in between 0 and 9 is a good place. If it's lower, it can come off as a little too quiet on the tape. If it's too much lower, it'll just, it's not necessarily bad for the tape to be too quiet either, or for the recording on the tape to be all that quiet. It's just that the tape noise will be louder. Yeah, it depends on how much tape hiss, basically, you want dominating the sound. It's nice to have a lot of tape hiss on a sound, but there's a sweet spot for that too. There's a nice balance to where, if you got like a lot of tape hiss going, it can be, you lose a lot of the other possibilities coming through with the sound. That the tape hiss can kind of ruin that if there's too much of it. But we want a perfect amount of tape hiss, basically. So now it's going. This album's 42 minutes, so it'll take 42 minutes, obviously, to record this onto tape, but I just thought I'd show you guys that. We also got, let me show you a little tape storage I have here, which is this. I found this thing online, and this is really cool. It's like, yeah, we're big into the wood grain. Anything wood grain is cool. You got like these tape drawers. It holds like, how many does it hold? It probably holds like close to 40 tapes, which is nice because like I also have these things, these are really cool. These are classic portable tape carriers, but those might hold a little bit less. You see like this one right here, if I count. Yeah, this one only holds like 24 tapes. This holds more like 40. You get some tapes in there too, but you make like a bunch of tapes and then like bring them, like you can carry them around in public and just like inflict them upon people. Or whatever, so it's nice to be able to do that. So tape's still going, but I guess I'll just show you now the finishing parts of the process, which was just doing the case. So let me just go grab scissors. So I got the label, and I'm gonna cut out the track insert. Yeah, and just noticing, like I did when I made this insert, I did put I put like the copyright symbol on the bottom of it, even though I don't believe in copyright. It's stupid. And then cutting out this is the insert. Yeah, good enough. So yeah, I mean it's what it is. It's part of how it goes when you do it yourself. There's more accurate ways, like you can use those chopping. It's like a board that has a knife that chops down on it, and it's like a board chopper. I'm probably not referring you very good to this resource, but like you line up the paper on like a grid and it chops it. Then you can chop perfectly straight lines. Those are good to have for any type of these type of craft purposes. So just insert. You put like web links and stuff on there and the track list, and then you have like the J card, which is like the cover, and then you put like the back side of the J card, you have like the track list in there. So when you get the case, we're going to put it in the case. Since that tape's going, we're going to use another tape. But one of the things that's good to do is this is just like what I found works, is you take a tape and you use the tape to put the insert into here so that it ends up being lined up well. You'll see what I mean in a second. But like you want to fold it like I fold it very roughly, like creasing it, just without without putting a crease into it. If I'm explaining that, so at first and just sort of sliding it in like that. So then like you can see like, okay, the spine is lined up correctly and everything like that. Like the spine is lined up pretty well there and pretty evenly. And then once you've lined up the spine, you take the tape and put it with the fat side or the tape side down in here, and then push it in. Pushing it in like causes the crease to happen right there. So now it's creased. And it came out pretty good. It's pretty straight, that way. Otherwise, it's hard to, really hard to like pre-crease it and make sure everything's lined up perfectly and then put it into the case, I found. Although, depending on how the whole J card is designed, you can do that. Because on the J card, like if you have a different graphic on the spine that's a different color, you'll see like the stark contrast between the front and the spine, so then you'll be able to just bend it right there. But again, like I find personally it's hard to like bend pieces of paper just going like that and to make it a perfectly straight bend. It's kind of hard. So this is my method of just putting the tape in and using the tape to force the insert to conform. That's what I found works best. And you get to put the insert in there. So that's it. This is it. Maybe I'll check back in when the whole tape is done recording, and then just do a follow-up, like another half hour or so. Yeah, I know this is not a whole lot of new things for anyone who knows about making their own tapes already, but yep. So finishing up the tape here, just stopped. It's done. So we're gonna stop it and rewind. It just ended. So eject. Take it out. Before we put this away, we can just listen to it real quick. And we could listen to it in the tape deck, but I do have over here, I have this this little boom box here. It's kind of cool. So we're gonna try it in here. This way. Doesn't. You go a little bit loud and it blows out the speaker on this thing immediately, but that's cool. So that's it. New tape. Yay! Tape times. Thanks for watching the tape times, everybody. Now go out and make tapes. Okay, do it. It's fun. Bye. Yeah, and I just said I would show you guys this earlier in the video. I was going to show this is one method. It's kind of a crazy method that I used, to be fair, of what I was calling the perfect, getting the perfect amount of tape hiss or whatever. And I used this on the album called Bloom, which, but basically it's really not the most preferable method, largely because it's kind of painstaking. Let's see if these display it here. I mean, they kind of do. Yeah, they do. Okay. It's kind of a painstaking method, but basically the method was to layer the cassette recorded track on top of the MP3 track. So here we have, see, audio 1. This was the track that was from the cassette that was bounced back into the computer, or I guess you'd call it bouncing. And then this is the MP3 version itself. It's definitely a very painstaking method. The main reason why is because the tape, because it runs on the spool, it doesn't function on the same timing as a snap to grid would. It doesn't, there's imperfections, there's wobbles and things in the tape that end up stretching the timing, and so you don't get a perfectly methodical, mechanical time. So once you bounce the tape back onto digital, you'll put it into the grid like this, and you'll see, like these. You can begin to figure out the exact tempo. Like this was 11:19 was the tempo of this song, but you begin to find the exact tempo of it. But then even if you do line it up perfectly with the right tempo of the tape track, you're going to have imperfections and little things here and there where they dip out, where parts get stretched and parts get shortened and lengthened. So then you have a situation like these where I had to individually change the shape of each of these pieces of the track, and I did that throughout here. I mean, if you look, there's different areas that, and it kind of like, that cut it. This wasn't the most smoothest time stretching job that I've ever done. But you can see there's different ones here that were stretched, broken up, and so like you can break up a piece, and you can you can add pieces or whatever, and then shift them. I'm not trying to do that right now, but so that way as it lines up, like if you look at let's say a spot like right here, you line up to here, you're trying to line up all the individual pieces of the waveform so that the these here, like you can see this waveform on top here is beginning just a little bit before this. Sometimes I can create kind of a cool psychedelic kind of effect too, but you're trying to basically get them to see this track there's definitely parts that I didn't completely move them and line them up, so it ended up coming a little off. See, like this one here is like that's lined up pretty closely. You see this waveform on top and the waveform on the MP3 track. So you look at the overall shape. Most of these larger shapes like this here, they're lined up from the two tracks pretty well, but it did take a lot of manual work of cutting up and reshaping all these down here to make them lined up. So that's a method. Do I think it's the greatest method? No, not necessarily. I don't know if I advertised it as my perfect method for getting the perfect amount of tape hiss earlier in this video, but yeah, it's definitely a method that we can use. It is, like I said, it's very painstaking to line up each part of the track, but it results in, like, if you just listen to this for a sec. It's like you can hear the tape hiss. And like I had so this was the tape track, and I had lowered the volume quite a bit, and this track has a louder volume. This is the MP3 track. With just this, you're not hearing any of the tape hiss, right? And then with this, you're hearing a lot more hiss than the recorded track onto the tape. And like that is like, to me, that's way too much tape hiss compared to the sound, obviously. It's like all completely dominated by tape hiss. So, hence the idea of layering both, and then you can perfectly dial in exactly the volume of the tape hiss that you want, and it also adds a more fullness to the sound. It adds more of the sense that it was recorded on tape completely, and yet still has more clear definition of an MP3 recording. This is really, yeah, a lot of hiss. But then we do both. We can dial in the amount of hiss we want. So I suppose I did put it pretty low on the final master, like it's down to like here. I could have boosted the hiss more. But the thing is, to me, this is kind of the perfect method. It's just that it's painstaking, so I don't do it on every album. I probably would if it was easier to line up the tape spool perfectly, with the grid on the DAW. There's other ways to do things as well. That don't require you to do this extra step. And I'm not talking about using emulators, but there's ways, basically the cheapest kind of method that you can do. If I say it's cheap, I mean, it feels kind of like kind of a silly method, I guess. And it still doesn't, depends on what you want to do, but one thing you can do is just record a blank cassette tape onto your computer, like running. This is like, record the running tape spool on an empty tape, and just record that sound into your DAW, and then you'll have like a blank tape track of just the sound of tape hiss and nothing else, and then you can just layer that on top of all your stuff. That's another method. I've done that method before. I still feel like that method is preferable to just using an emulator, a digital emulator. Like anything's preferable really to using a digital emulator. But that's kind of like a step down from the ultimate method, which I think is just doing this, which is really recording onto tape, but then sending the tape back into digital, but then furthermore layering the MP3 and the tape onto each other. The MP3 is pretty much always going to be a fuller sound. It's going to be more clear. It's going to be louder and stuff. But this way you get the best of both worlds this way. So I just wanted to point out this method to you guys and see in case anyone found that useful. But like I said, it's not something I do regularly because it's just a lot of work. At the speed at which personally I produce albums, I feel like it takes too long to do this many extra production steps when I could just be producing another album instead of focusing this heavily into like production things like this. But if this is your thing, if you like messing around in the DAW a lot and like clicking a lot and stretching, you've got the different like Paul stretch, and you've got these different stretching tools that we have, time stretching tools. It's definitely not something I personally would do for every single album necessarily. Anyway, so I wanted to share that. So yeah, that's it. Yeah, so on that album, like I did that method on every track for the whole album, and as annoying it is to do all of that manual work, it made it feel kind of special to me. So I feel like other people might agree with this sort of feeling where it just feels different. The vibe of it compared to like other masters that have come out that did not have the doubling of the MP3 and tape on the final mix. So it's just a thing to consider. It's a technique to consider. But when I listen back to that album, like I can hear the stark difference between that and like an album that's full digital that has never had a tape master. And I feel like coining a term for this, and I guess I'll call it like the uncanny physical to digital je ne sais quoi. Maybe we could have come up with a more concise term, but it's like basically the audio equivalent of the uncanny valley, where it's like you listen to any retro media, any music that originated on tape or vinyl or whatever, and those then archived onto the internet. You can sense that, and you can sense when a piece of music has only ever existed in the digital. It feels like it's largely subconscious at times, but you can recognize. It feels like something's missing when the piece of music has not originated in a kind of physical medium in a way.